Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the meeting of the Wenatchee City Council. For the record, it's Thursday, May 11th, 2017. It's 5:15 p.m. and the City Council is out of executive session. Call the meeting to order. The first item would be the pledge to our flag. Councilmember Kulas, would you lead us?
I would. Would you all please rise? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Kulas. And for the record, even though it looks like there's only 6 council members here, Councilmember Bailey is with us via phone. Hi, Jim.
Good evening.
All right. First item on our agenda this evening will be the consent items, which includes this evening's agenda, vouchers, and the minutes from the previous meetings and Resolution 2017-29.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the agenda, vouchers, and minutes from the previous meetings, and also to adopt resolution number 2017-29, appointing 3 city council members a voting representative on behalf of the city of Wenatchee at the Association of Washington Cities Annual Conference Business Meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Huffaker and a second by Councilmember Markart to approve this evening's consent items, including the agenda, vouchers, minutes from the previous meeting, and Resolution 2017-29. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, I got to do my timing for Jim. Remind me on that. Get my delay in there. Next item on our agenda this evening would be citizen comment. This would be a time if any member of the audience would like to address the council on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. We'd ask that you come up and give your name and address for the record. We give you 3 minutes or so. Seeing no takers, we will move on to our presentations. We have 4 this evening, and I'm not sure which council member has which. The first one is regarding Public Works Week.
I have that.
All right, Councilmember Harold, if you would read that into the record.
Whereas public works infrastructure, facilities, and services are of vital importance to sustainable communities and to the health, safety, and well-being of the people of Wenatchee, and whereas such facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees from state and local units of government and the private sector, who are responsible for and must plan, design, build, operate, and maintain the transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential to serve our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the United States to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understand the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas 2017 marks the 57th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21 to 27, 2017 as Public Works Week in the City of Wenatchee, and I urge all people in our community to join me in honoring our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and recognizing the substantial contributions they have made to our national health, safety, welfare, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 11th day of May, 2017. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thank you, Linda. Matt, you coming up? Who's coming up for Public Works Week?
Make a speech.
Make a speech. Oh, get your picture taken first. Come on.
Thanks. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for the proclamation for Public Works Week. We have a really dedicated group of people at Public Works. We couldn't do it with everyone there. We have a really good team, and we're happy that all the support from the mayor and council, and we hope to continue.
AWPA, whatever that is, soon?
The spring conference was a couple of weeks ago. The fall conference is in September, October, something like that.
October.
Okay, October. Perfect.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you for fixing the hole at Washington and Western last night, after hours.
That's funny.
Sometimes we forget that crew is on 24 hours a day,
I
7
watched
days a
them
week
fix
as
them.
well.
They did a great job.
Yeah. All right, the next proclamation is regarding Arts Month.
I have that one.
All right,
Whereas the arts, including dance, music, theater, and visual arts, are defined as a core content area in Washington State's definition of basic education and considered an essential component of the complete education that should be provided for all students. And whereas learning in and through the arts enables students to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills, imagination and creativity, discipline, alternative ways to communicate and express feelings and ideas, and cross-cultural understanding, which supports academic success across the curriculum, as well as personal growth outside the classroom. And whereas imagination and creativity are increasingly understood as critical capacities needed for success in the 21st century workforce. And whereas the arts can transform schools into havens of creativity and exploration, places where students want to learn, teachers want to teach, and all members of the learning community are more engaged and motivated. And whereas high school-based arts education involves a wide range of partners, including school boards, district administrators, educators, parents, artists, and art organizations, community members, and local businesses and organizations, whose collected endeavors toward equitable provision of arts learning for all students we celebrate and promote. And whereas we applaud the efforts and dedication of the arts educators and advocates around the state, and we call for school and community leaders to continue to broaden and strengthen their commitment to provide arts education for every student in every school. Whereas the City of Wenatchee is invested in encouraging art through the work of the Wenatchee Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission and 1% for Arts Fund. And whereas the Commission commends the work in the Wenatchee School District for their efforts, which include Beauty of Bronze, Elementary Art Academy Program, the District Art Show, the Strong String Band programs that provide annual musicals, and district-wide musicals that rival professional shows seen in much larger venues. Now therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Arts Education Month in the City of Wenatchee, and I urge all citizens to join us in this special observance. In witness whereof, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 11th day of May, 2017. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
thank you, Councilmember Kulas. Don Collins, are you here? There you are in the back. How are you, sir?
I'm covered in clay.
Excellent.
Well, that must be another art program.
Let's get a few words from you.
Oh, great. Well, Wenatchee School District, I can speak for them. We're growing lots of art programs, beginning in the elementary school with kindergartners and moving all the way up into high school. Excited about the growth that we're seeing. I think Columbia is going to full-time art teacher next year, and so we just keep seeing these things happening left and right, and we're grateful to live in a community that honors the arts. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. And we do have a remarkable arts, not only program in the school district, but throughout our whole community. I haven't been to the play yet, but I'm going on Friday. The PG version of Young Frankenstein, right? Next on our agenda is a Youth United proclamation. Who has,
I have
you have
that.
that, Ruth?
And
Thank
I
you.
have to say, as a United Way board member, I am proud to read this one. Very proud of the kids. Thanks, Trina, for all the work you do. Whereas Youth United is a program of United Way of Chelan and Douglas counties and recognized by United Way worldwide as a student United Way. Whereas Youth United empowers students in grades 6 through 12 to become active volunteers in their community. Whereas over 1,300 students throughout Chelan and Douglas counties participate in Youth United. Whereas in the past 12 months, Youth United volunteers have served over 30,000 hours within their community and all over the world through selfless service projects. Whereas high school students who volunteer at least 145 hours in 12 months can earn a varsity letter from their school. Now, therefore, in witness thereof, I, Frank J. Kuntz, as mayor of the city of Wenatchee, offer congratulations to those students who serve the community through Youth United and commend the efforts of the United Way in assisting the students in achieving their goals. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 11th day of May 2017. Mayor Frank J. Kuntz.
I think that deserves a hand, doesn't it?
Yeah. How are you? I'm not going to pronounce any of the names. You're obviously going to mispronounce all of them. Hi, Glenn. How are you? Hello. What do you want? Okay, first name, picture, name, and back to it.
Just kidding.
You guys close enough back there? Oh, yeah. Okay. Excellent. So we have the microphone. You guys all have to introduce yourself, and one of you has to say something really bright and articulate.
Hi, I'm Itzel Velasquez, and I'm their secretary.
My name is Ariana Bearhorte, and I'm Youth United's president.
Hi, my name is Bryn Sherrill, and I'm Youth United's treasurer.
Hi, I'm Sophia Dillon, and I'm the Youth United Vice President of Public Relations. Hi, I'm Hadassah Lerver, and I'm the Vice President of Internal Operations.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for all you do in your volunteering, and congratulations on getting a varsity letter and for all the good things that you do in our valley. So thank you. You bet. And our final one is regarding National Historic Preservation Month. Who's got that?
This proclamation, whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainability development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability, and whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by the dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as people. Now therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, do hereby proclaim the month of May as National Historic Preservation Month in the City of Wenatchee, and I urge all people in our community join me in recognizing historic places for the purpose of instilling national and community pride, promoting heritage and the social and economic benefits of historic preservation. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on the 11th day of May, 2017. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thanks, Mike. Kirsten, come on up. How are you doing? Thank you for your work at the Historic Preservation Board. You gotta say some nice going on with historic preservation we should know about?
Yeah, so I just wanted to let everyone know that this month we're actually going to be doing a historic home tour that we've worked with the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center to put on. And that will be May 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. with a reception following at the museum. And some houses will be on tour that kind of showcase the Grandview Historic District and some of our registered buildings. So hopefully people can make it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we are done with our presentations. So we have a number of action items this evening. The first regarding appointment to the Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission. David Erickson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Dave Erickson, Parks and Recreation Director. So tonight we're requesting approval of Resolution 2017-25, which would appoint Marlon Peterson to position 5 of the Wenatchee Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission. We had a vacancy created when one of our other members actually moved to Minnesota, so We had that opening come up, and Marlon applied. He's got a great deal of arts knowledge, so that's going to really help bolster our commission in that area. His application is in your packet, so if you wanted more information about that, he's also here. He can answer those questions for you.
Marlon, come up. Come up, Marlon.
And he's been unanimously recommended for appointment by the commission.
Should take a seat.
Yeah. Hi, Marlon. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got interested.
Let's see. I'm an art instructor at Wenatchee Valley College and a freelance illustrator. I moved to the Valley about 5 years ago, and yeah, I started to see lots of bare walls, and I'm really into murals.
Oh, good.
I did the salmon mural recently last fall on above Centennial Park. But I've got in touch with a friend there, and he's on the commission. He told me about that there was a vacancy coming up, and I'd be a good fit for it. He said that it'd be great if we had more artists on there. So, as a user of parks and somebody who really appreciates public art throughout the world and locally, I think I'd be a good fit. So,
Great.
thought I'd apply.
We're excited to have you.
I was thinking we should have the opportunity to meet some of his references face to face at their home in Italy, maybe?
Yeah, if you got a private jet.
Thanks for your willingness to serve.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And we're excited to get, when we put the arts and parks together, we were concerned we wouldn't get enough arts people. So we're excited to kind of even that up a little bit. So.
And the neatest parks, they combine both. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to adopt resolution number 2017-25, appointing Marlon Peterson to the Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harold, second by Councilmember Huffaker to adopt resolution 2017-25, appointing Marlon Peterson to the Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Marlon, for doing this, and appreciate your support of the city.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Next item, comp plan. David Erickson.
All right, Mr. Mayor, so this one, we're requesting approval of Resolution 2017-26, which would adopt our 2018 through 24 Parks, Recreation, Open Space Comprehensive Plan update. This one's been underway since last fall. The park plan, it really gives us direction for park acquisition, development projects, rec programs, arts programs for the next 6 years. And it is a requirement for most of the grant applications we apply for. So our current park plan is set to expire at the end of this year. By adopting this plan this evening, it'll keep us eligible for all those grant programs through the year 2024. And also, actually, because we've incorporated arts and habitat into this, it'll keep us eligible for all the habitat grants and also through 2024. So we did adopt that habitat plan, I think it was last fall. We've incorporated that information into this plan, and so then that extends our eligibility for 2 more years. The Arts, Recreation, Parks Commission has been the ones that have been going through this plan month by month, page by page, since last fall, and they unanimously recommended approval at their last meeting. That'll answer any questions you might have.
I'm curious on the 2 years habitat plan. It gives us extra money, or you apply for grants, or how's that?
Yeah, it's eligibility, so we can
Eligibilities.
apply for grants. For example, we use that habitat grant to acquire the Sage Hills Gateway property as one example.
Great.
As always, very thorough plan, so
Yep.
thanks for all your hard work. And with that, Your Honor, I'd make a motion to adopt resolution number 2017-26 of the City of Wenatchee adopting the 2018 through 2024 Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Huffaker, second by Councilmember Poyer to adopt resolution 2017-26, adopting the 2018 through 2024 Parks, Rec, and Open Space Plan. Any discussion at all? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. David, thank you. And I know that's a ton of work, and thanks to the Parks Commission for all of their work on that. And your last item this evening is regarding some park rules. What's going on?
It is, yeah. So this one would, we're seeking approval of ordinance 2017-09, which would effectively update the park hours section of the park rules ordinance. So the current park rules have all the park areas open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Since those rules were adopted in 2009, we've actually acquired a few parks along the way, and most notably Saddle Rock, Foothills North Natural Area, Castle Rock, Sage Hills Gateway, and a few others. Some of those areas are closed seasonally. So all those areas right now north of 5th Street are closed every year during the winter time for mule deer habitat. The other thing that's been going on is up in some of those areas in the foothills have different operating hours. Some are open only till dark, some are open at 7 a.m. So what we wanted to try to do is get something consistent for the foothills. So what we've done is asked our adjoining property neighbors, so the Land Trust, Appalachie, the PUD, and said, we're thinking of possibly changing these hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. to dawn until dusk instead. And we got feedback from them. We also got feedback from Chelan County Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management, the Wenatchee Police Department also, because of some of the nighttime activities that are less than desirable that have been occurring up in some of those areas. And so they were in favor of this as well. So what you see in the ordinance, the update is it changes the foothills areas parks only, not the city parks. Those still stay the same, the ones in town. Just the ones in the foothill, it establishes those hours or the seasons for the mule deer habitat north of 5th Street, and then also the hours for the daylight hours only, unless you have a special event permit or one of those sanctioned programs like we have. The Land Trust does owl walks and solstice hikes and things like that, where it's an organized activity. Those could still occur.
How do you sign these? Are these all going to be signed in accordance with this resolution?
Right, yeah, so it would be signed, and then it would also have the municipal code section on the sign itself. And this was also reviewed by the attorney and recommended for approval by the Arts Rec and Park Commission.
And you said in the foothills portion of it, the seasonal dates match the surrounding hills. November 30th? I was thinking they closed earlier than that.
Yeah, it's December 1st. December 1st through April. And that's the areas, PUD, the home water property in that Sage Hills area.
Okay. I thought they'd closed earlier than that just to protect the trail from erosion and things like that, so.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Dave regarding the hours of our parks, including the changes to the ones in the foothills? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Here, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2017-09 of the City Council of the City of Wenatchee, Washington, amending Chapter 68.18.050 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to park hours.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Esparza and a second by Councilmember Huffaker to adopt ordinance 2017-09 relating to park hours in the City of Wenatchee. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Next item is regarding support for air service at Pangbourne. Allison, you gonna do that one for us?
Can you check to see if Jim's still
Jim, you still with us?
I'm still here.
All right, thank you, sir.
So, good evening, Allison Williams, Executive Services Director. You have before you Resolution 2017-30. It is a pledge of support for increased commercial air service for Pangbourne Memorial Airport. The Port of Chelan County has been out developing support for a local guarantee fund that they can then utilize to leverage a federal aviation grant that would help guarantee business for getting a new direct flight to San Francisco. And the Port of Chelan County officials presented to the City Council Finance Committee at the end of April. And today the Finance Committee looked again at those one-time requests and included the 10,000 in our list of things to be funded out of one-time requests. I did let the port officials know the final action would be with council this evening. I received an email letting us know that there are currently 43 pledgers for 171,000, and the vast majority is private business, but they also have pledges from nonprofits, local governments, and individuals. Notable pledgers are Stemilt, Savy, Pacific Aerospace, Cascade Auto Center, Crunchpack, Kashmir Valley Bank, Goodfellow, Numerica, Libkey Insurance, Columbia Valley Community Health, Mission Ridge, Columbia Fruit, Salcedo, and North American Title. From the standpoint of city, we believe, based on particularly the economic development work that is going on, a connection to the Bay Area is pretty critical to our business climate. And the city of East Wenatchee did provide $5,000 in support. We decided that we wanted to make a strong statement, and so ask for your support of Resolution 2017-30.
And I think the important thing is if the air service goes the way we want it to go and it's profitable for the airline, then you don't have to pay any money into the pot. You would only pay in if, in fact, it wasn't profitable. So we're pledging dollars we may not be spending. We may be spending them if the air service doesn't go as planned. But we're leveraging these dollars with some FAA dollars. It's kind of the way this game apparently is played around the country in terms of trying to get new air service. And we've had a number of conversations. In fact, we may be having a company from San Francisco moving here, and it is difficult for them to get here on a regular basis. And so we think when we look at economic development, to have another major airport connecting flight, I think staff and the finance committee believes this is an important show of support to the Pangbourne Airport and perhaps getting one additional flight or one additional location.
And we should also note Ruth's support that she provided and the connection to Guadalajara. It's very important for our population.
It is. It's good, though. Yep.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I make a motion.
Not for my sorry.
Right, for our
for my
population.
benefit.
that we adopt Resolution 2017-30, supporting increased commercial air service from Pangbourne Memorial Airport to additional destinations and airline hubs for regional, economic, and personal benefit.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Harold to adopt Resolution 2017-30, supporting commercial air service from Pangbourne International Airport, Memorial Airport, excuse me.
Second.
I think it's been motioned and
Sorry.
seconded, I think. So, any other discussion?
Was it mentioned that we're contributing 10,000?
Yes.
Yeah, that was mentioned, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that was in there or not, but
Okay.
that's the amount. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Allison. Federal purchasing policy update. This will get you off the edge of your seat.
This is exciting.
This is exciting stuff right here.
Here, Council. I already got to bore the Finance Committee with this earlier today. So I'm here requesting the adoption of Resolution 2017-31, amending our purchasing policy. The Code of Federal Regulations was recently updated, requiring that federal fund recipients to adopt policies addressing conflict of interest in the selection, award, and administration of contracts. This is basically an administrative policy update so that our policies match what the federal government wants us to have in our policies, so that we can continue to receive federal funding that we use for our roads and various projects around the city. Any questions?
Basically, this is the same as what we've had, just a few additions and changes to the policy, correct? Anything
Yes,
in
there's-
blue was what you'd added in?
Yeah, yep. There's really no change in the way we're administering things. It's just the federal government says you have to have a policy in writing.
Yep.
So you put it in writing so you don't get dinged by the state auditors.
Yep, and the previous policy has been working well for us, so this shouldn't be any different.
Yep.
All right, I'd entertain a motion if we had one.
Your Honor, I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2017-31, adopting an amended purchasing policy.
Second. Go ahead.
Motion by Councilmember Huffaker, second by Councilmember Esparza to adopt Resolution 2017-31, adopting the amended purchasing policy as is in your packet. Any discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. Just hope all of you appreciate the irony of this motion in light of the current administration.
Point well taken. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Nice to welcome back a friend of the city who was a friend of the county, Mr. Mitch Reister. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council.
So Mitch is our new utilities manager, I guess.
Utilities manager, yes.
He was the Chelan County engineer for years, moved to Spokane for a while, and has just moved back and is working for the city. So we're excited to have you back in our valley, and whose mother was the city clerk here for a long time, Vicki, for
And she says
25 years?
hello.
Oh, good.
How many, you want me to say how many years? I don't think she'd appreciate
Okay.
that necessarily. Still have some of my stuff at her house, so.
Welcome home.
Well, thank you. So this item is essentially approval of the council for the mayor to execute an agreement with Coleman Oil for a temporary discharge of treated groundwater to our wastewater treatment plant. I'm fairly confident that you're all aware of the issues with Coleman Oil down on 3 Chehalis Street with biodiesel had leached into the ground. One of the two options the Department of Ecology gave to Coleman Oil for final discharge of their treated wastewater, which they have to deal with on site through a process. It's fairly extensive. One would be discharging to our wastewater treatment plant, and the other one would be to discharge the treated water to the sanitary landfill, which both are not inexpensive in their own right, but discharging to the landfill is somewhat of a waste there, and also a little bit more expensive and has more of a potential for things to go wrong in the transport. In meeting with Coleman Oil, staff and myself, looking at what they would need to do to essentially turn their polluted groundwater into essentially just groundwater, and what that would mean for a wastewater treatment plant. We went through a fairly extensive agreement, which is in your packet. This will be a batch discharge, so essentially they pump the water through their facility, treat it in 4,000 gallon increments, test said water prior to discharging it into the sanitary sewer system at the rate of about 10 gallons a minute, or the total of 4,000 gallons per discharge, which would probably be once to twice a week. So in looking at how that would affect our operations, it really wouldn't. It's essentially just dilution, which at that rate doesn't affect the treatment plant. So fairly extensive battery of testing that we're requiring to ensure that this essentially is just groundwater. Time is of the essence for Coleman because they're treating it as we speak, and currently their only option is to haul it to the landfill.
Where would
Douglas
they
County.
access our sewer plant from? Is there a outlet somewhere around there where they could get to it pretty easily?
Yes, there was a sewer line in front of their facility. They're actually not connected to sewer. They were still on a drain field. And so they have installed a sewer connection, which also has a valve, which we required just as a safety precaution. It's very unusual, but that's already in place. And they would essentially just pump it into that connection, and then it would flow down to the treatment plant by gravity. The terms of the agreement are 6 months unless we choose to extend it. We're not really sure, neither is Ecology, how long this process will take. It could be less than 6 months, it could be more. But if there's anything we're unsatisfied with, any risk to our treatment plant, which the agreement ensures that we pretty much have complete control over that, then we could terminate the agreement at any time.
Is Coleman Oil paying us a fee? Are we
Yes.
doing this because we're nice
No,
with Ecology?
they're paying the standard fees for connection plus industrial discharge, and they're paying us, I can't remember exactly what it is per 100 cubic feet.
Okay.
And then they're covering all the costs for everything they're doing on site. So they're being treated as an industrial discharger as well.
Excellent, okay.
And then in the future, they have talked about demolishing their facilities on site. Should they erect a new facility, they will be required to use the sewer system and not drain field,
Got it.
which is a benefit to everyone.
And would city staff be involved with the monitoring of the water when they, before they discharge it, just to prove to city staff that it is just groundwater now?
Yes, they have to submit a report that comes from a certified lab for the battery of tests. We have to review that and then give them written authorization to discharge for each batch. So, and there's a meter. So we've put quite a few stoppers on this just to make sure that we're comfortable. In my mind, it didn't make sense for the city to take a risk on this with our treatment plant. However, we are very interested in making sure the site does get cleaned up, not continuing to leach into the Columbia. So we're trying to partner with them as well.
Perfect.
So that testing protocol will be something that the lab will propose to the city on how often, how frequent, and...
Actually, we've dictated that it has to happen for every 4,000 gallon batch.
4,000.
We have stipulated which tests, EPA test regimens have to be adhered to, and they have to supply with us their methods, their treatment train, their staff.
Yeah.
So there's a whole plan that has to be submitted prior to us moving forward.
No, and the billing is in the agreement, the standard $40.70 per month, and then $3.90 per 100 cubic feet, plus a 15% administrative fee. I like that.
Good.
For each bill, before taxes.
For taxes.
Which means utility taxes.
And should there be other costs to the city, then we would have those as an administrative cost to Coleman Oil.
Well, assuming it's not a risk to the treatment plant, I prefer that option versus additional vehicles going to the landfill on our streets and our neighboring streets, as well as water going to the landfill.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't seem like the right use to me
It
either.
would be permanently encapsulated unless it showed up as leachate.
Right.
It just didn't make sense.
To evaporate off eventually.
All right, any other questions for Mitch?
Mitch, this is Jim Bailey. The processing or the process of them preparing that water for discharge, is that a chemical treatment, or what's the process to prep that water to go into our system?
As of right now, we don't have the full plan. They're still required to submit that. However, we understand the process to be an oil water separator, then followed by 2 different carbon filter systems where I have to go through that. They've tested that once at this point, given us the test results, which looked fairly good. But if we want any modifications to that, if they add anything to that, we'll have that in a written plan. So as of this time, we understand there's 2 carbon filter systems and the physical oil water separator.
So it's a separated water then that's going to go into our treatment plant. What happens to the residual, the sludge and whatever that they're taking out?
They'll have to pump that out and probably take that to the landfill. That'd be a separate discharge that we wouldn't be seeing.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, any other questions for Mitch? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move for City Council to authorize the execution of the agreement for temporary discharge of treated groundwater to the City of Wenatchee publicly owned treatment works by the mayor at a future date other than a public meeting upon confirmation by utility staff that Coleman Oil has met their pre-discharge obligations as stipulated in the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harold, second by Councilmember Poyer to authorize the mayor execute an agreement to treat or take the water from Coleman Oil into our wastewater treatment plant. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mitch, you were gone. It's like he's back in his chair. Mayor's report. not quite sure where to start. Seems to be a lot going on. We have spent some time, and I can't speak publicly, but we've been working hard with a company out of the Bay Area about moving to the Wenatchee area. So your staffs and I have been working really hard on some business recruitment, which is, I think, going well. Allison and Steve and I went to Seattle on Tuesday, met with 2 different developers. We went to the University of Washington and met with some of their, what's the term for the computer?
Co-motion lab.
Co-motion lab, where they got these computer companies sharing space and working together that the University of Washington has sponsored. And then we talked to their planning folks if they've done a major update to the comprehensive plan, which is really cool. Then we went to downtown and met with Vulcan Real Estate, which is Paul Allen's real estate division, met with Ada, and just talked about how they developed South Lake Union. Some really interesting stuff there, just kind of learning. Then we went and met with another developer company. So we're, as we've said, we're trying to get housing and interest in our valley. And so part of what we do is we're making these monthly trips to go meet with developers, tell them Wenatchee's story, and see if we can get them excited to come to town. So that was a good long day. You know, anytime you leave at 7 and get home at 8, and drive to Seattle and back. But really good meeting. We did take someone from Goodfellow Brothers with us, and then Linka, the architect, went with us as well. So really great day. We've been dealing at the Transportation Council, and I need to get you updated a little bit on what we call Confluence Parkway, which is the supposed second access that goes along the railroad tracks and crosses over down into Old Station. The Transportation Council has hired some consultants to do some kind of preliminary environmental work. I'll call it a fatal flaws analysis. There's all this environmental stuff. And they've gone through and said, so what's, you know, most of the things are very low risk from the environmental side, which is really good. One of the ones that has got us a little bit taken aback is because it goes near the park system that the PUD controls, they asked, the Transportation Council, the consultant asked for some comments from the PUD, whose letter to us was, how do you paraphrase this? No way in are you going to put your road near our park. So we've got a little bit of work to do with our friends at the PUD to try to figure out kind of where that's coming from. And, you know, it's interesting, we drove over the 520 floating bridge on Tuesday, and we met with the University of Washington people, and the mitigation for WashDOT was a 7-acre park near Portage Bay at the University of Washington. Just spectacular. Yet we don't get to talk with the PUD at all about mitigation if the road goes in a certain location. So disappointing to say the least. The Transportation Council has decided to finish the consultant's report, and if the only issue left is the PUD, to go meet with them and see if we can start working on issues of mitigation. Allison, what else do we have?
So at next week's work session,
Yeah, what items do we have next week?
so the museum is doing their annual report. Glenn has time to do a final update on the overall comprehensive plan update. And then we've been doing a good deal of work on the North Wenatchee Form and Function study.
Okay.
So we'll have that for your review next week as well. And then it's Wednesday's Tourism Day. So we have TPA and LTAC, and the Chamber would like both groups to meet at their new space next Wednesday.
And I haven't been in their new space. Mark, you been in it?
Nope,
I have.
this will be our first
Okay.
go at it.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
They did a really nice job on it.
Anything else from council committees and meetings you guys are going to? And
Well, I have a comment. The museum is having a tour of Wells House tomorrow.
Okay.
Going to areas that you probably won't usually see.
Right.
It is a little pricey, $50 tickets, but all that goes to upkeep for the house.
Oh, good. And I will say for the three and a half council members, because Jim was in the meeting last week, you know, the finance committee took a number of requests last week or 2 weeks ago from our department heads, as we've had a little bit of money in our savings account. And so we went through a laundry list of things that we're going to be, we've approved spending money on. Is there a quick list of those that I might just see if I can?
Oh.
I'll do it really quickly. We're information systems. We're going to do a Spanish language website that Anna will be running, so it'll all be in Spanish, written by our Spanish-speaking folks, so we won't have to use Google translate anymore. The police department's getting some Spillman stuff to help with GIS on all the different, so they could do their mapping, crime mapping. Jim Bailey asked for some money for a gateway study in North Wenatchee, which we're going to do. We got some money for signage for downtown parking and pedestrian stuff. When you mentioned the museum, the library has asked for some money from the city for their update. So we've tentatively agreed for $50,000 for each of the last 2 years. There's money in there for the San Francisco flight, which you guys just approved. We have talked about adding another $500,000 to our rainy day fund. It is fully funded according to our financial policies at $1 million. But since sales tax is now a 50% of our budget or so, I think the Finance Committee thought we should put another $500,000 in that rainy day fund, which we're going to do. Matt has a number of issues on Public Works. We kind of let him pick some ones that he thought were important. A number of them to the cemetery, Mark, including some chip sealing and some additional inventory and expansion, which I think is important. A fiber line that's our own dark fiber line between wastewater treatment, the convention center, and our IT department. What else was on there? I found it was interesting that, we're a Firewise community, and as you enter our city from the north, the first thing you see on the right is a whole bunch of junipers. So we're going to spend some money to get those junipers taken out. And we are going to do something to Skyline Overdrive to Skyline Overlook for purposes of a security camera. We're not exactly sure what that will entail as well. But I just wanted to get you guys up to speed on some of the things that are going on. We did have a conversation, that the next sidewalk project, which should be paid for by CDBG funds, is the rest of Chelan up to Ferry Street on the one side of this road. It's designed. It's going to go to bid, public outreach in the next month or so, go out to bid. We were going to pay for the next 2 or 3 years of CDBG money, but the Trump administration hasn't told us whether we're getting any or not. So we have committed some reserve funds out of this pot of money to go ahead and complete that project, whether or not the CDBG funds come in. So we're far enough along on that project. I think we got to finish it, whether we really want to or not. Anything else, Finance Committee, on stuff we talked about?
Not finance, but I'll say thank you for my mommy to show up. And remember, everybody, Sunday is Mother's Day.
Right.
Nice plug.
That's good.
Regarding finance, the needs definitely extend over the amount of revenues available to take care of them, so.
Yeah.
It's
And
quite
we're
a
trying to
bit.
be careful. We
Yeah.
don't spend it all, but we're trying to make sure we save for a rainy day, as we call it. And so I think. Yeah.
And they've been working really hard up on Maple and Western,
Yes.
and the lights are going in. It looks really good. I'm really pleased with it so far.
I'm anxious to get that light in and get the stuff in around the tennis
Mhm.
club as well. So,
When's the Western and Cherry? When's that?
Matt, when are we going to get a roundabout in at Western and Cherry?
That should be coming up pretty quick here.
In the next couple of weeks or month or so?
Probably a month.
Okay.
That's going to be, was scheduled to be a night closure. We're actually going to probably do that one during the day instead.
Okay.
It'll happen over 2 days. And we'll do a detour. So Skyline, one direction, and then through kind of some residential streets.
You can be able to do it on maybe like even, I can't do spring break, that's already over. I'm just trying to get high school. Is there a better day of the week to try to do those? Probably not.
Scooter
huh?
day.
Yeah, don't do it scooter day.
We didn't put it in the contract, so it'd be a change order to try to
Yeah.
get their schedule
Okay.
changed around.
Put our speed limit wagon out there.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be a great improvement. All right.
The Wenatchee Downtown Association Board met yesterday. A couple of things coming up are the possibilities tour of downtown buildings. They had report outs of the state Main Street conference that was held. Some interesting discussions of some how to provide some training or education of essentially entrepreneurship, putting together partnerships to make investments. There was a little bit of talk about the Apple Blossom Festival. There will probably be some discussion between the festival, the Downtown Association, and the city on it,
Yep.
at least one of the events.
Yep.
That was, it's interesting to see how folks are talking about the change in the retail economy.
Yep. It's definitely changing. Yep. All right.
Oh, the last thing on that.
Yeah.
Their one promotion that's called Girls Night Out
Mhm.
sold itself out well in advance of the event. They're crediting a lot to not only being a good program, but the use of social media to whip up the frenzy and other things that they did. It was very successful. And they're into their planning on the what is it, the Ailes Trail,
Yep.
other event that they do downtown.
And it was nice to see, I know Chief reported to us that it seems like crime during Apple Blossom was about the same as normal, and they actually did it with less overtime hours, so. Yeah. The only major issue is getting people out of town before the bike race shows up and how that all's kind of, haven't quite got it all worked out perfectly yet, if we ever will. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, we're adjourned.